Right. Wow. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the last in a series of webinars to celebrate British Science Week on the theme of Innovating for the Future. My name is Terry McStay, and I'm going to be hosting this afternoon's session. And I'm delighted to be able to introduce our speaker, Kate Dawson, from the All-in-One Company. So Kate's journey began in 2004 when she couldn't find a onesie to fit her 3-year-old daughter, Lily. She didn't really want one with a hood or with feet, so she decided to design and make her own. And that was the beginning of the All-in-One Company. And now Kate's onesies can be seen on shows such as Celebrity Big Brother, Dancing on Ice, The X Factor, and Hollyoaks. However, for Kate, it was never just about the business. She supports and people close to her heart with offcuts from the products given to schools, care homes, and hobbyists. She's also created a sensory onesie for children on the autism spectrum. She provides blankets for Newcastle's rough sleepers, sends onesies to baby banks around the UK, and supported Comet Relief, Macmillan Cancer Support, and Oxfam. And during the recent pandemic, Kate also helped form a scrub hub, working with other local businesses and Age UK in Northumberland to create a group of more than 120 professional and amateur sewing machinists to make desperately needed protective clothing for health workers. So before I introduce Kate, please don't forget to type any questions you might have into the chat facility, including the name of your school, and I'll try to ask Kate as many as I can at the end. So that's enough from me. Kate, over to you.
Thanks, Terry. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to my story. As Terry said, my story started when I needed to find something to keep my daughter warm at night because she was waking up repeatedly and I needed to keep her warm and snug. So when she was a baby, it was easy. There was baby grows, there was fleecy little sleep soups to keep little ones warm. But after the age of 18 months, there was nothing on the high street. So this was before the world knew about onesies. So what I did was I decided to come up with my own idea because, as Terry said, I didn't want a hood. I didn't want feet because Lily was going to sleep in it. And she had hot feet. She didn't want her feet covered. I wanted to be able to choose how this little all-in-one sleep suit was going to be made, in what fabric, how thick that fabric was, and what add-ons they had. So I launched the company in 2008 with a 2D onesie builder. Now, the web developers at the time said it'd be much easier if you just had a product and just sold pink ones, blue ones, green ones, some with hoods, some with feet. And I said, no, I want the customer to be the designer. I want them to create their own onesie. So that's what they did. They actually did create a 2D onesie builder on our website so people could design their own. And over the years, people have been coming up with ideas for different ears, different tails. Can we create a drop seat so people can go to the loo without taking the whole thing off? Can we have detachable feet that you can put on separately that aren't attached to the onesie? Could they have zip-on mittens? So all these ideas have slowly evolved, so we've been able to increase our offering. So when we first started in 2008, the response was amazing. And I honestly thought it was going to be mainly for children, but it wasn't. It was mainly for adults. And I used a company that would make them for me in Newcastle. Until he couldn't make them anymore, I was actually forced into a situation of, do we stop this? Do we actually close the company down because I haven't got a manufacturer? Or do I set up my own factory? Now, that was a really big decision to make. And I decided to set up my own factory because the onesie boom was massive. People were loving these things, yeah? And we were getting orders from all over the world. So my little problem of needing to keep Lily warm at night, actually, lots of people had this problem. Lots of people wanted to be warm and snug all times of year. They wanted to choose the different thickness of fabric, whether that was a nice thick cuddle fleece or a lightweight micro fleece or a cotton jersey. You know, lots of people wanted this too. So started my own factory, built a team of high performing machinists and cutters. And do you know what? It's so rewarding. It's so lovely to work in a ethically made environment where everyone's looked after, everyone's respected. We do what we do really, really well. We focus on one thing and do one thing well, which is make onesies. We do accessories like blankets and hot water bottle covers too, to match your onesie that you've designed. But the thank yous that we get from the customers are so amazing. You know, we all get boosted from it. Everyone's looked after, everyone's supported. And also the offcuts from each and every onesie that we make can be used to help others. So other factories will just throw their offcuts away. They go to landfill, which I feel really strongly against, that shouldn't happen. So we use our offcuts to make onesies for baby banks and women's refuge centres. The machinists here volunteer some of their time, like 15 minutes at the end of the day, just to make a simple onesie out of the offcuts, and then we save these up and then do a shipment off to one of the baby banks or the women's refuge centres around the UK. And they are hugely appreciated. And if other factories could do the same, we could make such a difference in this world and just prevent stuff from going to landfill and just help other people, because people love helping each other. Yeah, it's just in our makeup. We like helping each other. So the other thing that we do to try and keep these onesies lasting as long as they possibly can is we've launched the TLC service. Now, the TLC service means that you can send your onesie back at any time and have new feet, a new zip, and new cuffs, just again to stop it going to landfill. Yeah, so they already last. We know from being around since 2008 that these onesies last a lifetime. Yeah, they're so well made. But obviously due to wear and tear, the soles of the feet can get thin, the zips can sometimes get a bit jammed. So we've started this TLC service, so you can send it back and have it fixed to give it another 10 years of life, again preventing things to go to landfill. The other thing we've done is we've launched the 3D onesie builder. So that launched in 2019. So it's more realistic. You can actually see what your onesie is going to look like. So if you go on to www.theallinOneCompany.co.uk, jump on to create your own onesie, you'll actually be able to see your onesie design come to life as you go through the options and select what you'd like. Now, the sensory seams are something that we created by working with the National Autistic Society. We used to do Onesie Wednesday as a charity thing with them up until about 2017. Then they stopped that as a charity event, and we asked how else we could help. And we worked very closely with Northumberland North National Autistic Society Department and worked with the children and adults from there to create a onesie where you could not feel the seams on the inside. There's no labels sewn in. So there's nothing that causes irritation on the inside of the onesie. And as a thank you to the National Autistic Society, for every sensory onesie that we sell, we donate 5% of that to them to help them with their amazing work. Now, not everyone with autism has sensory issues, and not everyone with sensory issues has autism. So, you know, the sensory onesies for anyone that doesn't want to feel the seams on the inside, which has been absolutely amazing. So just a little bit about me. I left school with just one O-level in cookery. I had a really rough time in the last year of my school, and it prevented me from really completing my education. So I just want you to know that by building up your life experience and by doing different jobs along the way, I started off as a nursery nurse. I was a nanny. I looked after children. I worked with families. I worked in nursery schools. I then went on to do a teaching degree at Brighton Poly, which I decided it wasn't for me. I left that. And then I sort of started work with my parents doing pub and restaurant interiors, which I did for about 7 years. So I had the looking after people, which is a transferable skill into customer service. I had doing bespoke and customized experience, working with my parents doing the pub and restaurants. So again, that's another transferable skill, to be able to realize that you can actually just gather your life experience and bring it to something completely different. So I'd never ever set up a factory before. I'd never actually been in the clothing industry and textiles. So this is something completely new, but I was able to do it because of previous experience. Yeah. So I think it's really important to know that whatever you do, you're learning, you're really learning, and it's remembering that to be able to bring it to new situations. So the all-in-one company, we've now made in the excess of 70,000 onesies. We ship them worldwide. We've recently just launched our .com website so we can tap into the American market. We're launching our German website so we can tap into the German market. And, you know, our customers love what we do and love our product and love that it's handmade in England. So I think whatever idea that you have, if it's something that's missing now that isn't available, believe in yourself. Yeah, I think that's a really important thing, is to believe in yourself and don't be defined by what you achieved at school. Yeah, we're all doing our best. Everyone wants to do their best and be the best they can be, but don't be defined by your GCSE results. Be defined by what you're passionate about. And what I'm passionate about is trying to, through clothing, change the way that people buy clothes. Yeah, to have something made to order, to have something that you have designed on a website and put in your specifications for colour and ears and add-ons and whatever you want, you're more likely to hang on to that. You've got an emotional connection with that. And you're not going to chuck it away. It's not going to be a wear once item and throw it away. You're going to keep it. It's yours. It's special. It's unique, and nobody else has got one. And I think that's really important. So if you can see something that isn't there, is missing from the market, believe in yourself and do it, because it's so fulfilling. It just makes getting up in the morning really worthwhile, because you're changing the way somebody does something and you're getting good feedback from it. And the most amazing feedback I've had is obviously being awarded an OBE this year in the 2021 honours list, which is so flattering, so amazing. And I feel so privileged that I know I will be going down to the palace at some point after coronavirus and the restrictions have lifted to receive the award. And I feel really, really proud. And it's lovely for the team here. You know, we've been working together for many years. They all do an amazing job in the marketing, in the production room, you know, and this is an award for all of us, that we are appreciated and what we're doing is really well received. So it is lovely for everybody. I'm just trying to think what else I can add to this, just to really complete this. Terry, have we got some questions that...
We do have some questions, Kate, yeah. And I'll just say, all the people that know you are so pleased that you were awarded last year, and all know how well you deserve it. And we're looking forward to seeing a picture of you with the Queen or Prince Charles or whoever it is that gets to give you it, whenever that'll be. It's interesting, though, Kate, you talked about, you left school with one O-level in cookery, and now you invented the onesie and are selling onesies all over the world. The other people that we've heard from this week, we had Andrew Turner on Monday, who started out as an engineer in an automotive company, and now he's developed healthcare products and products for the water industry and products for all sorts of different things. And then Craig, who we heard from yesterday, who left school with a couple of GCSEs, I think, and now he's got this product, developed this product himself that runners can use to measure how well they're running. And none of those things are anything to do with what they did at school. They're all to do with things that they were passionate about. And I think it's so true that is the thing that should drive you forward, isn't it? I think, yeah, obviously everybody watching, you've got to study hard and you've got to work hard, but it's what's in there that is the thing that's going to move forward. And it's about letting that out and not letting anything stop you and not letting anything get in your way. And would you agree with that, Kate?
I would totally agree with that. And I think another thing is again, not to be defined by your qualifications, but to understand who you are. So there's going to be the chatterboxes in the class. Yeah, there's going to be your customer service people who love to talk, who love to communicate. There's going to be your quiet thinkers, your problem solvers, your people that do analysis, that understand things behind the scenes from data. There's going to be people that love making things, yeah, and are great with their hands. I personally can't make a onesie. So I employ the specialists, the professionals who are absolute geniuses with a sewing machine and with the shears for cutting them out and doing the grading and understanding all about sizing, grading a onesie from a baby size up to an 8XL size and different feet sizes. So I think really celebrating who you are and what your gift is. Yeah. So rather than thinking, oh, I'm always talking is a bad thing, I'm always being told to shush and to quieten down, actually realize you love communicating and go into something where that can be celebrated and used to your best advantage.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Kate. It's yeah, we're all brilliant at something, and some of us find out when we're quite young what we're brilliant at. Others, it takes a little bit longer, but you really need to find out that thing that you're really passionate about, don't you? And then just run with it and make sure you make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've all got a gift. It's about finding it and understanding it.
So we've had some questions posted in the chat. So thanks all of you for doing that, and do keep posting them there. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge on this journey?
Probably setting up my own factory from scratch. That was really difficult because I had to find premises, I had to find equipment, I had to find staff. We had to then find suppliers, get the fabric shipped in and understand the whole manufacture process, basically learning on our feet with the orders throwing in at us, coming at a rate of knots. And trying to keep the communication with the customers to let them know that everything's fine, we're just setting up new premises. I think that was the most important thing, was to keep communicating, let people know what's happening so they're not just left in the dark. Excuse me. And yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge.
Because most people would think to do something like that, you'd have to know how to do it before you attempted it, but you didn't. You just got on with it.
I did, yes. I knew I'd need premises. So that was the first thing I did, was try and find premises that were big enough that we could afford. Then I needed to understand a factory layout. So where were the cutting tables going to go in comparison to the sewing machines? How many sewing machines did each machinist need? Where were the inspection tables going to go, just to make sure that everything that had been cut was inspected before it went to the machinists, and everything that had been sewn was inspected before it went to the packing table. Where were they going to have lunch? You know, where was the snack table going to go? Where was the office going to go? So it's really planning space and how it's all going to work and what the workflow is of getting the work in, doing it, and then getting the work out the other end to get it delivered to your customers. So there's a lot of planning, but you have got time. It took me 5 weeks to set up a factory from being told that my current manufacturer wouldn't be able to support me in the long term. So that wasn't bad going, but it was 5 weeks of a lot of planning and head scratching.
And I imagine you learned an awful lot in that 5 weeks.
Yeah, I really did. But I was able to find some staff, a local company that was manufacturing. They had machinists and cutters, had recently sold out to a different company, but not all the machinists and all the staff wanted to go and relocate with that new company. So there were people in Northumberland that had the skills I was looking for, that were able to come and join me quite quickly. So that really helped. You know, when you can't do the job yourself, you need the professionals in who know how to do it. And then they become your advisors. You know, they sort of pave the way of how the setup needs to look and where everyone needs to be. So it's about listening. It's about listening to other people and not thinking you know it all yourself, because you really don't.
And that's another thing that most of the speakers this week have said, that you can't do everything yourself. You can't know everything, but there are so many people out there who are experts in that thing that you might need, and it's about getting them to work with you, isn't it?
It is. It really is. So not only do you have your in-house marketing team, your customer service team, and your production team, you've also got your external team. So your external team are your suppliers. So you look after your suppliers and make sure they're paid on time, to make sure that when you do need something and it's an urgent delivery, they will support you because you've always supported them. You haven't tried to eke out the payment. I remember when I was working with my parents doing the pub and restaurant interiors, the pubs would try and eke out their payment from 30 days to then 60 days to 90 days. And as a small company, it's really difficult to operate like that, because you've got to still pay your staff every week. You've got to pay your bills every week. So if your customers aren't paying you for 3 months after you've done the job, it makes it incredibly difficult. So that's why with this company, you pay for your onesie when you've designed it. So we've got the money in the company to go and buy the materials, to pay the staff. So there's no problem with cash flow, to make sure our heads are above water. Yeah, with money. It's really, really important. Yeah. So you've got your suppliers as part of your external team. You've got your accountant that does all your tax returns and your payroll. They're part of your team, but they're external. And you actually build up quite a big network of different people, different skills that help you. And then you've got your team of advisors. So you're able to sort of tap into advice for setting up a small business. And then as you go along, you get introduced to different people that can help you. And that saying about it's not what you know, it's who you know, is very true. Yeah, people love to help each other, and people will normally give you a contact if they don't know themselves of who you can reach out to for that advice.
So any of you thinking of starting a business, don't think you've got to do it all yourself, because there's so many people out there who are there to help you. So we've got a couple of questions from Hadrian Primary School in South Shields, so big shout out to you guys. This is a good question. Who is your superhero? Who inspired you?
Oh, okay. Probably one of them, the main one is my dad. My parents were amazing entrepreneurs. So I actually watched them go from business to business, from setting up an antiques business to going through a recession where nobody had any money to invest in antiques, to changing direction and doing pub interiors because the Burney Inns had just started. So theme pubs were started. So it was the first ever theme pub. So Dad was able to supply them with not antiques, but bric-a-brac and pictures and mirrors and clocks. So they've been amazing just to see how you can evolve, how you have to change, sort of Darwinism of enterprise. Yeah, you can't keep doing the same thing. People won't want it. You can't keep making steam trains. People don't want steam trains anymore. They want high-speed trains. So you have to keep evolving and changing. I really, really respect Kate Hills at Make It British, who is really celebrating British manufacture and trying to get people to understand that cheap isn't good, isn't always good. In my opinion, it's not good. You know, you need to invest in something that's going to last and be well made. And I think her representing our smaller UK manufacturers is an amazing thing to do. And yeah, hats off to Kate Hills.
Thanks, Kate. And I'm sure there's a lot of people for whom you are an inspiration. There's another question from Hadrian Primary School. You've touched on this a little bit already, but what inspired you to make the sensory onesie?
Again, it's helping people. So just to understand that some people really, really struggle with wearing clothes that have got irritating seams and irritating labels sewn into them. It irritates them to the point where they can't concentrate. They just want to basically take that garment off. It's a bit like getting into a bed that somebody's filled with bits of grit or sand. It really feels uncomfortable. Yeah. And that's not nice. It's just really not nice. And understanding how other people feel, and then being in a position where you can actually help and do something to change that, which is what we are. It was a bit of a no-brainer. Yeah. So the children came in, told us what fabrics they loved. They loved the super soft fleece. And then worked with the machinist. The machinist made the seams. They tried on the onesie and went, no, can't bear that, took it off, couldn't deal with that. So then we sewed the seams in a completely different way. And they liked it. It was comfortable. And to see the relief on the parents' faces, you know, it just took this massive problem away, that these children were comfortable in what they were wearing. So they could now concentrate. They could now do something else rather than be irritated. And anything you can do to help somebody else is incredibly fulfilling. You know, it's a really nice thing. It's a lovely feeling.
And your machinists, who were experts in their field, then learned something from working with these kids, didn't they, about how to do different types of seams?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and it was a lovely two-way partnership. Yeah.
How many people do you have working for you, Kate? Someone's asked.
I have 10 at the moment. Yeah, so that's some in the marketing. They're all working from home because of the situation we're currently in. And then we have some in production. So we have cutters, machinists, embroidery technicians, but there's 10 of us in total.
And what would you say was the most popular onesie?
There isn't. There is. Every single one is different. Every single one is unique. Let me think. The animal fabrics are still very popular. So giraffe, like I've got behind me, if you can see that, so the little giraffe ears, is very popular. Cow print is very popular, but people mix and match. So you can have a giraffe, zebra, cow with dinosaur spikes and a rabbit tail. You know, they're all totally unique, and that's what people are loving. You know, that it's a completely unique onesie that you could never get on the high street.
And you could probably work out how many different combinations there are, and it's probably in the millions and millions, isn't it? If you think of all the different fabrics and all the different combinations. So probably every one that you've sold could be different, couldn't it?
It is totally different. Yeah, totally different, from size to add-ons to fabric types to foot size to types of pockets. So we have patch pockets, we have keep safe pockets, which have got a little additional secret zipped pocket inside. Zipped side pocket, zipped sleeve pockets, chest pockets. You know, everyone chooses something different because it's right for them, for what they need it for, which is, you know, the whole point.
That's brilliant. There's a question here which, again, you've kind of answered, but have you met the Queen?
Not yet, and I'm hoping when I go to receive my award for my OBE that I will do, but there's no guarantee. I don't know which member of the royal family will be awarding me, but yeah, that would be amazing.
And will you be presenting her with a royal onesie of her very own?
I haven't thought about that. I don't know if the Queen would appreciate that. I think there might be other royals that would love them more. But yes, it's certainly a very good thought, a very good idea.
Well, there are some, it's anyone who listened to or watched Craig's talk yesterday, when he was talking about when he was launching his mobile phone business, which isn't the thing he's doing now. And he was talking about how because they were selling them in universities. And when Prince William started at St Andrews University, they thought it would be a really good publicity stunt to get a Prince William lookalike to stand outside Buckingham Palace. And they got lots of attention. So perhaps the younger members of the royal family might appreciate their very own giraffe print onesie.
Yes. Yeah, and just for them to create their own, just to be the designers. It's such an amazing thing to actually choose exactly what you want and have that handmade for you. It is a lovely experience.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. Well, I think that's all the questions we have for you, Kate. So thanks for answering them. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
We look forward to hearing about your visit to Buckingham Palace, whichever member of the royal family you get to meet, and I'm sure we'll see some photographs. And maybe for next year, when it's British Science Week 2020, you can come back and show us your lovely new bit of jewellery that you'll have been.
I'd be absolutely honoured to. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much for asking me.
Not at all, it's been a pleasure. So thanks, Kate. Well, that's the end of British Science Week, but it isn't the end of British science. Don't think that you can switch off from all of this and stop being clever and creative, because this is just the beginning of your journey. Now, all the people that you've heard from this week, hopefully have inspired you. They're just normal people, just like you and me, who've done something amazing, but not because they're experts or because they're amazing people, but just because they're passionate and because they want something to happen and they want to do it. And I think that's the message that we'd like you to take away. As Kate said, everyone's brilliant. Everyone can be amazing at something. It's just about finding out what that is and try not to leave it too late. So we really hope you've enjoyed this series of seminars. They are still available on YouTube. We've had about nearly 300 schools have joined in to watch. So I hope you've all enjoyed it, and have a great weekend and have a great year. Bye-bye.